نوشتنده نامه خسروی نبود آن زمان جز خط پهلوی تو این نامه خسروان بازگو بدین جوی نزد مهمان آبرو I hope to arrange for like 20,000 Iranian mothers, volunteers, to go home to show what is the clean energy available now from women to give and I'm also inviting people to give their support to those ladies who volunteer themselves. Because now we have about 5-6 million people who already left the country not to become savages and not to get killed, basically. But now that all people are talking about it, it's either they make atomic bomb in my country or it's going to be bombarded by the Americans and the French people, then I see the solution is we have to go home together, the people who are ready, volunteers, with the clean devices and say mothers are cleaning the clean devices for the children of Iran, and through that act also change the political situation and say, okay, your time is over that you have been saying you do this and that. They promised people, for example, free water and free electricity, and none of them has been done. The reverse, they're charging.
You have satellite connection.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we need weather information and current information, and there are so many information we have to get in. And also we have contact to our ground crew who is managing the harbor contact when we arrive for refueling, and it's very important.
You get the fuel on the spot?
Please?
You get the fuel delivered on the spot?
Exactly. One of the rules is that we have to refuel in the harbor, not offshore. And so when we come in the harbor, we have only short time before refueling, and we want to make it as short as possible and very important. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm here on the team on Earth Race. I'm here for a couple of weeks. I'm doing here a volunteer. I'm from Germany, and I like this boat because it's very green and very fast. I come from offshore sailing, and I like fast boats, and I like this adventure, and it's the right way. We are going here with Earth Race, with biofuels and renewable fuels, and it's a good thing to fight for.
Where is your favorite place for sailing to?
I like the Atlantic. It's very good.
Their engine, I think, is hydrogen. And they use the solar panels. They have 8 solar panels that sometimes they use it as a sail when the wind is blowing.
Yeah, it's like a fan, so it fans out like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the wind is not blowing, they just bring it down and collect the energy for electricity to crack the water into hydrogen and oxygen, release the oxygen and put the hydrogen into their engine.
Oh, okay.
This is the way they move.
Okay.
And now the Captain Cook is also getting that solar sailor there, and they say it's costing them half the cost of the diesel boats that was before, to show people some shows on board, and people are very happy about it. I hope that that kind and this kind, this is also good. Biodiesel and not polluting the water is wonderful. You can go the speed you want, and you still have the respect for the planet that's a living entity under our feet. Many people either ignore it or they don't pay enough attention to it, that this planet also is a living entity in this space. So while we are having a time on it to explore a fraction of the creation here, we have to watch out not to really destroy it. While by burning the oil and the coal, we know that lots of goodness has been destroyed so far, but we can always repair the things that went wrong. And that is the goodness. That is why we come here to see the clean-minded people like yourself, as I said earlier, to really make the available clean devices in front of the eyes of people and say, hey, you don't have to think it's science fiction. Like your boat especially is one of the designs that when people see the picture, they think, oh, it's a science fiction thing. But it was a science fiction 50 years ago, and now it is the science of today.
Hey, here's something cool. The floor is actually made of hemp. It's the first powerboat in the world that's used hemp in construction. You can see it a little bit on this down here. See how it's green? It's been painted over top here, but that's actually hemp. And hemp is cool because it's you can grow it, so it's a renewable resource. Whereas this stuff here is carbon, which requires a lot of oil to go making. So,
how long did it take you to make it?
Construction was about 15 months, so a little over a year. In terms of hours, I think about 18,000 hours of labour, so many hours of work.
Who designed it?
There's a guy in New Zealand by the name of Craig Looms who designed it. He's a very clever guy. He specialises in these wave-piercing boats.
Do you have a plan to make more of it, now that the first one has been made and it works and it's good?
There are other designs like this that are being done at the moment. I think there's 4 or 5 boats. They use similar proportions under the waterline, but are different on top. This one will probably remain the most extreme wave-piercing boat. I think the reason is it's very poor utilisation of space inside. Like inside here, 24 metres long. It's a very long boat, and like it's only this wide. Like it's so tiny inside. Whereas on future versions of this kind of boat, they will have the accommodation area going over the outrigger. So they're not able to go through waves quite as well as this one, but they do get the benefits of a wave-piercing boat, even though not as extreme as this one. Yeah. So this is what we call a galley. Pretty simple really. We've just got a skillet here, a toaster, a kettle and a microwave. So it's enough to do sort of the basic cooking. Not too flash, but we're not really the flashiest cooks anyway. So.
And what are you having for dinner?
For dinner tonight we're having fish, actually fish and salad.
Okay, you catch any fish when you're at sea? Or?
Yeah, we caught halfway across the Pacific, we caught a 50-pound wahoo. We've caught some tuna, caught a lot of crayfish, and especially around New Zealand we're diving and caught crayfish, or like similar to lobster. Scallops, oysters, mussels. We eat very well on seafood on Earth Race. Yeah.
Okay. گشاد زبان و جوانیت هست، سخن گفتن پهلوانیت هست. تو این نامه خسروان بازگو، بدین جوی نزد مهمان آبرو. بدین سان که اکنون همی بشنوی، به تازی همی بود تا گاه نصر. بدانگه که شد در جهان شاه نصر، بفرمود تا پارسی و دری نوشتند و کوتاه شد داوری 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 داوری. بچه ها ببینید این یک قایقه که از نیوزیلند اومده اینجا با بیودیزل، یعنی با موادی که آب آلوده نمیکنه، هوا رو آلوده نمیکنه. الان باهاشون صحبت کردیم به انگلیسی و گفتن که به امید خدا به طرف پرژن گلف هم سفر میکنن، میان به شما نشون بدن تا برسن اونجا بلند شین خودتون آستینا رو بالا بزنین، یا بیودیزل درست بکنین یا قایق خورشیدی درست بکنین، یه چیزی درست بکنین که هم آب و هوا بتونه پاکیزه باشه برای زندگی و هم شما بتونین حرکتتون رو بکنین. مینوش آمستردام، به امید اینکه همه یه روزی وسایل تمیز داشته باشین. خدا نگهدار.